So here we have a 1/2 inch breaker, 19 and 22mm sockets, another 19mm socket short well with a 3/8 drive, 2 screwdrivers, 1 Phillips, 1 flat, a 10, a 17, a 19 and 22mm wrenches. That's what you'll need to get this job done. So you're going to need to jack up the vehicle and support it properly. We're going to have to remove the wheel. That's what your 19s are for. So once you have the wheel off, you're going to remove the screws, and there's some push pins in here somewhere. There's one here. Remove the fender liner. It's going to give you much better access to the bolts on the upper control arms here and here. This is one of the problems you'll run into with the upper ball joint. This is what your 10mm is for. Some may have an Allen key that you insert from the underside, but you need to hold this stud still while you turn this off. When you do so, you'll hear it clunk. Mine already did when I broke the torque off the 22mm bolt here. Okay, once it's backed off, I leave mine like this until I'm ready to completely remove it. Next, I'm going to work on the 19 and the 17mm bolts on the upper arms. I'll get them removed, and then I'll get a strap around the spindle here and around the strut. Make sure this doesn't move anywhere, then I can remove everything else. So these upper control arms are going to be put on with some torque. I can find the torque specs, put them down in the description, but obviously that side I can't get a socket on it. So 19mm, the 22 over the end, it'll give you enough to get it turning, be able to back it off. Once you got it loose, it's a little bit tedious because you don't have much room to work the ratchet unless you've got really good tools, which I don't. Okay, so now I've got all this off, I'll explain why I'm putting the Dirt Kings on. The rough country control arms gave me the clearance I needed to stop the coil bucket contact. Didn't experience it too much on this side. This was before I bought it, but I did on the driver's side, to the point where it actually pulled my axle shaft out when I was going down a trail. So per the instructions, rough country and Dirt King, there's 2 little tabs you can see here and here, and the same, I don't know if you're going to see them on this side, but there's one there and there's one there. They're supposed to be ground off prior to installation. So I'm going to get the Dremel out right now and grind them suckers down and hit it with some paint so it doesn't rust up too bad, and let that dry, and I'll start prepping the passenger side upper control arm to go in. So as you can see, those little tabs are ground out, they're nice and flat now. I did that on both sides. In fact, I may need to hit that one just a little bit more. Let's see. Nope. Well, they're nice and flat. I can hit them with some paint now. And as that's drying, we'll start prepping the upper control arm. So this is passenger side, obviously. You can see the little sticker they put on it to identify it. I leave the arms wrapped until I've got them installed. But what we're going to do here is apply some grease to the upper ball joint. We're going to insert the Zerk fittings with a 10mm wrench. Don't over tighten them because they are easy to break off, from what I've heard. And we have this little grease packet. This is to lubricate the exterior side of the bushings before installation. So I'm going to get that done and I'll come back to you in a minute. So I have my Zerk fittings installed on both sides. Unfortunately, this one doesn't point straight up the arm like I'd like it to, but also got them greased up, a couple pumps of grease in there. One thing I will say is Dirt King gives you this nice handy dandy check sheet. Make sure you're getting everything right, and it also includes all the torque specifications on there. So what we're waiting on right now is paint to dry. Once paint dries, the arms can go back in reverse order. The one thing I do like to do is get the arms on, get the nuts snugged down, and then I'll put the wheel back on and put the weight back on the wheel on the floor. Then I'll torque up the arms so they're sitting at actual ride height when they get torqued down. And I'll torque down the upper ball joint at the same time and put the cotter pin in. Then obviously I've got to jack it back up to put the fender liner back in, but that's not too big of an issue. It takes like 5 minutes. Once that's done, obviously torque up your lug nuts to the proper spec and take it for a test drive. Okay, so here we are. The arm is in. I have these bolts just snugged down, and this one over here. The 19mm is going to be on the right side, the 17mm is going to be on the left side, and that goes to both sides of the arm. I've got the 22mm on the ball joint snugged down. The suspension's back at full droop. What we're going to do right now is put the wheel back on and lower the truck to the floor so it's sitting on the tire. Then I'm going to get in there and best I can torque it down as close as I can to the specs. So I'll bring you back in a minute. So here we are sitting back at ride height. Everything's torqued down as best as I can get it. Again, I had to use the 19 and the 22 to extend it to get some leverage on that one. This one I could get a torque wrench on. And the upper ball joint is snugged down, cotter pins in there. The only thing left to do is put the fender liner on. Put the rest of my lug nuts in. I only put 3 in case I have to take the wheel back off. And once everything's done, put it back to take for a test drive.